Hey friend, welcome back to Bible Tract Echoes. I'm Micah McCurry, your host. Thank you so much for joining me once again today. We are again in Psalm 1, and I'm asking the question today, are you refreshed or are you rootless? Not ruthless, but rootless. Are you blown about with every wind of doctrine? We're in Psalm 1, and we're really looking at verses 4, 5, and 6 here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're concluding this week a 2-week series in Psalm 1. My prayer is that it's a blessing to you. You're going to hear me talk about the importance of and the dangers of controlling our screen usage, our phone usage. It's something that absolutely, it's mutilating a lot of Christians' spirituality. So we need to be careful of this thing. You're also going to hear me in just a moment refer to some interns we recently had with us. What a wonderful group of young people these guys are. And they had such a great attitude throughout our intern project. We'll talk about that maybe more in the future. But I'm going to ask you to tune your hearts, your minds, to what the Lord has for us today. Are you refreshed or rootless? This message I preached at my home church not long ago. I pray it's a blessing to you. Listen now. Blessed is the man, verse 1 of chapter 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. This is a happy, a joyful, a fulfilled man. We spoke a few weeks ago about Jesus talking about in the Beatitudes, blessed are the, and then we see a progression. He doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly. He doesn't stand in the way of sinners, nor does he sit in the seat of the scornful. The blessed man is known by what he does not do. And as we look at this thought, I asked a question that I don't know if I've asked these interns yet. Sometime over the next 6 weeks, I probably will ask them, but I probably know the answer from most of these young men. Who are your counselors? Who are people that invest in you? Who do you go to when you have a question? I ask the same question to you. If you have a question, biblical or otherwise, who do you go to? Pastor talked, I heard you say this many years ago from behind this pulpit, probably underneath that tent, talking about young people going to their peers for counsel, shared ignorance. But oftentimes we find ourselves when, I'll speak for myself, when we are most bereft, when we are most anemic, spiritually speaking, is when we find the worst counselors. We go to those that are sinners. We go to the scornful. And we talked about how a device like this is not the drug, this is just the needle. This is just the way the scorn of this world gets introduced to us. Think about TikTok and TV and all the rest. Very likely, if those are your counselors, then you're walking in the wrong counsel. If you're constantly feeding from scornful sources, you're sitting in the wrong seat. And we're not going to re-examine him just by way of review. We looked at Daniel as our example. He purposed in his heart. He was not going to feed himself on the king's meat and drink the king's wine. And then we look at verse number 2. But his delight. So a blessed man is known by what he does not do, and the blessed man is known by what he delights in. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Not just duty, but craving. Physical appetites change with healthy habits oftentimes. I found that self-perpetuating cycle. A couple of these guys, they brought weights with them. Now, you're supposed to lay aside every weight, so I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm trying to be more biblical in laying aside. These guys brought some workout equipment with them, and they want to work out a little bit. And the RV, they were doing some push-ups and things and trying to stay in shape. But it's amazing how those apples that we got at Sam's Club on our way out of town, how quickly those disappeared. There are a lot of other less healthy options, but these guys, if you can believe it, they're making good decisions at 15 to 21 years old. Better decisions than I was probably making at that age. Well, they vacuumed up those apples. But oftentimes I've found When you take the time to maybe get up and do a little jog in the morning or you work out a little bit, it's amazing how later on in the day you think, man, I really shouldn't have that third piece of cake, you know? But our habits, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. Most Christians treat their Bible like a meal replacement shake. We think, well, I'm going to eat junk food all day long, but as long as I have one protein shake, as long as I read a chapter of the Bible, it's going to counteract everything. And I had said it, and I think Brother Tim reminded me, that I don't even know that I had said it, but he reminded me that I did. He said that I said, you can't outrun a bad diet. Do you know how long it takes? You ever done those calorie counter things, or you're on the treadmill at the gym and you're watching those calories? They tick up so slowly. You can be there for 45 minutes. You're like, I'm not going to look. And you look down, 103. That's not the number I was looking for. And you eat one donut, and there's 375 calories right there. But I'll tell you, just like we were on the Indian reservation, I didn't hear anyone use this illustration about the Indian chief and which dog that he fed. I was a little disappointed. But you've heard that illustration. You have the white dog and you have the black dog, and the Indian chief's asked, which one wins? Well, the one that I feed. It's the same for our flesh, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. And we talked about Ezra and how he prepared his heart to seek and to do the law of the Lord. But then we looked at verse 3. We see what he does not do, the blessed man, what he delights in, and what he develops into. And he shall be like, verse 3, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Don't you want to be one of those people that everything you touch just seems to turn to gold? I've known people, they can seem to do no wrong. They can fall into a pile of manure, they come out smelling like a rose, right? You've met those type of people. Like, they're the type of people that get upgrades on their way, on long flights. I think if Brother Sigstad, and of course, Brother Sigstad, some of you may know, he dealing with some Alzheimer's and things like that, and praying for him. But Brother Sigstad was one of those guys that he just seemed to get upgrades all the time. And he'd tell me about him as if I wanted to hear about how blessed he was, right? It probably had nothing to do with the fact that he came with little goodie bags with candy and all that type. It probably had nothing to do with the forethought that he put into these long trips. Knowing me, I'm going to get like an upgrade on like a 45-minute hop to Minneapolis or something like that when I need it on the 15-hour flight to Australia. But the blessed man, whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Heard a pastor, actually Pastor Crone, pastor that runs the camp, Common Ground Baptist in Butler, Pennsylvania. And he has this saying, I'll try not to butcher it too bad. He said he has found, now he's been a youth pastor, Pastor Woodward, he was youth pastor for like 2 decades. He put in some time there. And now he's pastor for the last 15 years. So he's about 35 years in ministry. So he's in a lot of generations of teens. He's seen a lot of generations of families. He's now getting to pastor so many of the young people that were in his teen group. And he said he's known Christians that if there are 100 doors ahead of them, 100 doors to choose from, and there are 99 good doors and one terrible choice, they will find the one door that leads to destruction every time. But he said he's also known some people that could have 99 terrible doors in front of them, all bad choices, and there's one just gut shot. There's one just through the eye of the needle, one opportunity. And he's known Christians that they would choose because they're in tune with God. Blessed is the man, whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. They'll pick that one door. So the question is, which do you want to be? Well, if a blessed man is known by what he does not do, if he's known by what he delights in, if he's known by what he develops into, let's look at this evening, we're going to finish Psalm 1, some dangers to be aware of. Psalm 1, verse number 4 through 6. I'll read it aloud, you listen. Psalm 1, 4, 5, and 6. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. The ungodly are not so. Are not so what? They're not like verse 3. Verse 3, he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Verse 3 describes a healthy, a vibrant, a fresh, a refreshed Christian. But what do we see in verse 4? We see a rootless person. A rootless person. They're not like the tree planted and rooted by rivers of water. They are chaff. You know what chaff is? Chaff is just a byproduct of the process of getting that wheat. It's not a seed. You think, oh, chaff, it still has, no, the chaff isn't a seed. It's just a byproduct that is completely and totally useless. They actually throw the wheat up in the ground. They throw the grain up in the air so that the chaff can be purposefully blown away. And that's what the Bible describes the ungodly as. They have no roots. Trees survive storms because of deep roots. Chaff blows with the breeze. Whichever way the world goes, they go. Ephesians 4:14, the Bible talks about being tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine. No stability, no foundation, nothing to anchor them in trials. I don't know about you, but I've been that way before. Something smacks you upside the head, and you feel like, well, wait, I got to get my bearing. See, we are not judged in our Christianity by the good days. It's when the bad days come that the true colors show. It's when you scratch the paint and you see what's underneath that really counts. It's those stressful days when you really just want to lash back and snap back at somebody. How rooted are we? Would the Bible consider us ungodly, or would we be a righteous, blessed man? The ungodly are not so. Now, as we conclude today's broadcast, I've got to ask, are you refreshed or are you rootless? Psalm 1:4, the ungodly are not so what? They're not grounded. They don't have durability. They're not like a tree planted by the rivers of water. No, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Do you feel like you're getting just blown around? You're getting battered? You ever seen a flag just whipping in the wind? See what happens to the end of that flag? It starts to get a little frazzled, doesn't it? Threads start to come out. They don't last long when the wind's blowing that hard, do they? I wonder, is that where you are today? I pray you are refreshed. We're going to continue the thought tomorrow. We're going to ask this question: have you taken a step back? I know I have, but let's take 2 steps forward tomorrow on Bible Tract Echoes. My prayer, as always, is that you have a great day for God's glory. We'll plan on talking to you soon. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Bible Tract Echoes, the radio ministry of Bible Tracts Incorporated. Want to see our gospel tracts and other resources? Visit us online at BibleTractsInc.org. That's BibleTractsInc.org. Or follow us on social media to learn how you can partner with this ministry. Thanks again for listening. May the Lord richly bless you as you live for Him.